Yeah.
And what's your name?
I'm Alex Gerora.
Okay, and I'm Alex too, and I read that there was a statement made by a Portland police union head that the protesters were to blame for the recent shooting in New York City.
Well,
that's what this meeting's
right.
about here.
He more or less made the statement that the anger at police directed by community activists was the actual term he used, was what fueled the gunman's actions.
Was this a statement that was made to the local press? Or?
He sent a statement out, and the press more or less repeated a good portion of it, but that's the portion that got everybody, including myself, riled up. And so this was just a protest plan. There wasn't a meeting planned, I think, by the Don't Shoot people. I don't really organize much. I just showed up in support. But so he was really evasive about his own statement and sort of said, well, I was speaking generally, I was speaking nationally, I'm not talking about you guys, I'm, you know, talking about Louis Farrakhan, maybe Al Sharpton got thrown in there too. I'm not, you know, he tried to say, I'm not saying Portland community activists or... so he's really evasive on that. When we all know what he was saying, he's saying those people marching in the streets are the reason those cops got killed. Like, that's what the message he puts out in the media. So, you know, when you see protesters in the streets, hit them with your car or whatever. You know, they're fair game. You know, but you know, they went in talking more about, you know, future meetings, what kind of dialogue will take place in the future. It's all really good. There's a lot of people who've worked really, you know, for a really long time trying to get somewhere. But really, he's just being evasive, trying to, you know, highlight the minor ways that Portland police have accountability, trying to say, no, we have accountability here, no, we do good things here, you know, but really there's a lot of talking about things in the future.
Right.
And no real, like, okay, we're going to stop the gang unit going into Northeast Portland and shaking everybody down. Like, no, you know, they're not really getting to the real, you know, nuts and bolts of anything.
So this room here, there's no, what building is this called again?
Gosh.
This is like it's not a precinct, okay? It's a union hall.
It's not, I don't think it actually belongs to the police.
1313 Northwest 19th in Portland, Oregon, USA.
Yeah, I think it's just a private building they rent.
So they didn't have hardly any chairs in there. It's pretty small, and there's no video camera.
Okay.
And no video recording allowed.
As for the video recording, I kind of think that's reasonable. Nobody... You know, we're just some people who showed up and said, and he opened up his doors and said, we'll talk to you. That's fair. I don't, and people, you know, today, they like to take video and they like to twist up people's words and edit it and change.
Dan Sandini.
You know, it seems to me that...
Did they wear you out?
Hair didn't sneak back in the other way.
I think he's got a reasonable fear of, you know, taking clips out of context. I think he's just nice to talk to us.
Right.
You know,
so it's good PR in a way for them. They're sitting around the table talking cordially.
Right. And he'll be able to say, no matter what happens, well, I talked to the protesters. Well, I had a sit-down meeting. I gave them something. You know, this is, I guess, what the police get to say. They get to actually, you know, sit down at a table and act like they did something, which is what I'm saying is occurring. But
they spend their lives,
and this is Malcolm,
you run in those circles without hesitation. You know, I know Alex. Alex is awesome.
Yes, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Well, I think I've dragged it back onto track for at least a minute or two. Teresa's been having a hard time with that. You know, maybe some extra support on just keeping focus on what she's trying to say. I had to vacate. I just get too fucking rattled.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think I got him back on track, at least on that one salient point. You know, the union has to change its contract in order to allow the civilian oversight boards that we have established to widen their purview far enough so that we can actually make a difference to the questions that we're asking them. There is no way to do this without having that mechanism, and they, in their contract, refuse to allow that mechanism, therefore protecting themselves from any useful, meaningful oversight.
Yeah, Trust and I were talking on Sunday about how like the funding in the committees are there, like IPR and CRC and all of that, they're just not being used properly. We don't need more money, we don't need more oversight. The oversight needs to be used correctly.
Exactly. They don't have the powers to do their job. That's really what the bottom line is. It's not that they're complicit, although some of their membership may be. I know for a fact that talking to a couple of those people across that table the other day, there's people there who really give a shit and would love to see it change. They just don't have the power to do it. And I think a lot of the problems that we have with accessing our system these days is our jaundiced attitudes because of how badly it works. But being able to marshal the political might necessary to make it work is what is the only thing that's ever made any changes, not sitting and bitching about it, you know?
Sure.
And so we're going to have to access the levers we have, and instead of complaining that when we pull nothing turns, we're going to have to connect the linkages. You got me at a moment, I'm sorry.